Hey everyone, welcome into my college football 2024 season week 6 picks and score predictions. Hope you guys have been enjoying these videos. I've been doing fairly well in the games I've been picking so far this season in my videos. Now 2-2 in my surefire picks, basically the locks of the week. Started 0-2, was rough, now I've bounced back with 2 straight. Before we go any further, just want to say I'm continuing to pray and think about those who are heavily impacted by Hurricane Helene. It's going to go down as one of the deadliest weather events in modern U.S. history. It was a horrible storm. Images and video are heartbreaking as well. But let's get into it. Week 5 recap. Let's start there. 7-3 West week. Very respectable. Couple noticeable losses I had. BYU, of course. I picked Baylor over BYU. I meant to flip that. I think I was thinking ahead with the whole thing. Of course, BYU winning. Of course, Baylor's turnover screwed them over. Baylor could have easily won. I still don't find BYU to be a top 20 team. I think they're ranked. I don't care what they're ranked. They kind of pissed me off this past week, and of course they go on the road. And a spot like that, usually that team will lose, so whatever. But Arkansas over A&M didn't get that one right. A&M found a way at the end, even though they got outgained by like 100 yards or whatever. Arkansas chokes again at the end of the game. Georgia over Bama. I will say if it was a neutral site game, I think Georgia could have won, but I'm not going to give any excuses. Alabama played a heck of a game. Congrats to them. That receiver, Ryan Williams, 17-year-old, just absolutely insane. But surefire pick of the week was OU. The line flipped to Auburn -1, but it don't matter. I had that right regardless. I caught on at the right time, thankfully, with OU -2. So hopefully you guys won some money this past week. And, of course, if you're a sports bettor, like I claimed in the last video, I don't bet, but in general, I do watch some of the people who do this stuff. So I kind of try to take a little bit and try to, be reasonable with what I'm saying, but of course, you do what you want to do at the end of the day. You don't need to really take my advice per se, but of course, like I said, I'm a guy who likes to really do these picks and have some fun with it, but also take it seriously a little bit too. So let's get started. We'll start with who's basically tied for 25th in the AP poll, UNLV, hosting Syracuse for what looks to be a bit of an electric Friday night matchup tomorrow night in Las Vegas. UNLV, the quarterback switch from the Hajj Malik Williams has proved well so far, very worthy as well, or wealthy switch. Dual threat QB, Matthew Sluka. I want more NIL money. Take your ass home, buddy. Nobody cares. Your completion percentage is absolute dog water. Go home, dude. You're pathetic at this point. Nobody wants you on their team, I'll tell you that. Syracuse coming into their first road matchup of the season. This is going to be a tough one. Syracuse's offense has been elevated a lot by Kyle McCord's QB play. UNLV, a 6.5-point home favorite. First ever meeting between these two in football. Should be a pretty good atmosphere in Allegiant Stadium. Over under 58.5. I feel the over in this one. But Syracuse's defense, I'll tell you what, Syracuse's defense is going to be their downfall in this one. But Syracuse should be able to move the ball. If McCord can avoid the turnovers, I think they can keep themselves in this one. But I like UNLV's dual threat capability. And then, of course, their defense, Jalen Catalon looks to be one of the playmakers on their defense. He has 4 interceptions in the season. Do note that. But I think this should be a shootout. Fun one here. UNLV keeping their hopes alive for the overall season. All right, moving on to the only top 25 matchup of this week. We have 25 Texas A&M taking on number 9 Missouri. A&M is actually the favorite, although they're the lower-ranked team. And part of it's because of Missouri's struggles over the last couple of weeks. They had that double overtime win against Vanderbilt. Is Missouri just saving, their bigger place for later? Or is this the Missouri team we're actually supposed to understand and know? Because if this is the Missouri team that we're supposed to actually come to know, then they're in trouble here on the road. Although I'm not, last week I mentioned A&M I think is overrated, but Missouri might also be a little bit overrated. Their explosiveness has not been the same as last season, but Nate Noel has been running the ball a lot better. He rushed for 199 yards in last week's win over Vanderbilt. This Missouri defense has been kind of, I don't know, man. I'm not sure if I buy this Missouri defense. But A&M with the quarterback situation, Wigman might play. What kind of Wigman makes me want to go. But Marcel Reed's been playing well. No turnovers. Clean football is important, obviously, in college football. This could come down to like who turns it over. Like I think turnover battle will be one thing because both these teams do not turn it over much at all. But also Missouri is 5th in time of possession, but Texas A&M ain't too far behind them. I don't know, man. This is a tough one here. A&M favored. I think A&M should technically not be favored. I don't know. A lot of people are picking Missouri. I guess I'm going to jump on the bandwagon. That's what scares me. A lot of people hop on one team and then the other team wins. We had this happen in Michigan, USC. We got another matchup kind of like that later down the line in this video, but I like Missouri. I like their offensive capacity, their capability better than A&M, although they have yet to show the same amount of power, unlike last year. So with Theo Weiss and Luther Burden, I think that'll be just enough. A&M can't stop the big plays. I think Missouri will have enough of those. A&M, Le'Veon Moss scares me though. Le'Veon Moss does scare me on A&M. He could run the ball. He could run wild in this game. We'll see. Next up, we have an interesting ACC battle. Let's take you to Louisville, Kentucky, where number 22 Louisville Cardinals are hosting the SMU Mustangs. SMU's offense has finally figured it out. Seems like Kevin Jennings and this squad are moving the ball at a pretty good pace. They struggled a little bit against Florida State, but then they blew them out. Florida State's just a horrible team. We'll talk about them in this video. Yay! I don't know why I'm even doing this, but anyway, Louisville's coming off of a loss at Notre Dame. Louisville outgained Notre Dame in yardage, I believe. Louisville could have easily won that one. They're back at home. It's the first time since 1984 they're going to play. Only the third ever meeting, of course. Now them being conference foes, of course. Now they're going to play more often, obviously. But I have a shootout here. I have Louisville winning. I trust Tyler Shaw in this offense more than Kevin Jennings in this offense for SMU. This is their biggest road test. I think SMU, though, has proven they can hang in there. Does Louisville cover 7? Not entirely sure. I don't have SMU covering, but I have Louisville covering. I know I just kind of flipped on that one, the way I said that. But going to be a tough one. This should be a shootout. The over-under of 56.5. I am pretty confident the over hits in this game. I feel like SMU's offense will travel a bit here, but this is where we really start to find out, too, if Louisville's defense will continue to be legit, which they gave up a bit last week. So, I mean, yeah, it is what it is. All right. Okay, everyone, let's go to Columbus, Ohio, where the number 3 Ohio State Buckeyes will take on the Iowa, no offense having ass Hawkeyes. Well, I shouldn't say it like that, but either which way, Ohio State's favor 20 points, low over-under 44.5. Ohio State has dominated the series for years, of course, or just in general. Last time they played, Ohio State was able to just steamroll Iowa. Ohio State had an interesting game against Michigan State. Final score does not reflect all that what have happened. Ohio State, are they technically a little suspect? I'm not sure. I still feel like Ohio State's one of the best teams in the country, though. It's hard to really go against them. Iowa could run the ball. They're like 5th or 4th in the country in rushing. They average 250 rushing yards a game. Well, let's be honest, part of it's because the passing game isn't all that impressive to begin with. I have a sneeze coming on, but before I sneeze, let me just continue to talk. Ohio State at home, Iowa on the road. This will be a tough spot for Iowa, pardon me there, but this will be a tough spot for Iowa and Columbus. I can very well see the first half being extremely slow. This could be like a 10-3, 13-6, or maybe even 10-0 game at the half. I'm going with Ohio State to cover. I feel pretty confident they cover. I like the under in this game too, so Ohio State, next week, big game against Oregon. Can't wait to talk about that next week, but for now, they have to focus on Iowa. Could this be a look-ahead spot for Ohio State? I think Ryan Day is going to have these guys focused. This is not going to be – the second half will be a runaway for Ohio State. I will be kind of shocked if this is a one-score game for the end result. Next up, this is a tricky spot here, ladies and gentlemen. South Carolina hosting number 12, Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a 9-point road favorite. They were a diabolical disaster last week against Kentucky. They got dominated the line of scrimmage. Their defense sucked. I knew it. I had a feeling this team was still overrated and not elite. I don't think Ole Miss is that elite. I really don't. I mean, where is the elite tier? Okay, Ole Miss's offense. They, after the first drive, did absolutely nothing And I understand Kentucky's a feisty little team. Kentucky gave Georgia problems. They can't score, though, really too much. But they somehow won the games because their rushing attack and Dane Key, Trey Amos on Ole Miss just was so annoying to watch. This dude just kept getting penalized left and right. He made Dane Key look like any elite NFL receiver. I swear, this dude was making catches like he was beating Trey Amos a good bit. So let's just put it that way. South Carolina is a frisky team. This team kind of scares me because now they're at home. Lenore Sellers is questionable. Last time I checked, he may not play. The South Carolina offense, they can move the ball, but it depends on the team they're facing. They had that close one against LSU. They have scored a bit in the season, though. So, but the defense is where things really kind of, are like, wow, you see the real prosperity of this team. The defense is pretty solid. That defensive front, especially, kind of similar, I feel like, to Kentucky in ways. That's what scares me, but I like the odds here for Ole Miss. Maybe I'm putting too many points on Ole Miss. 33. I almost decided to drop their point total back to like in the mid-20s because I'm not sure if Ole Miss is going to run away. And Ole Miss's defense, South Carolina only 16. Maybe I'm underselling South Carolina's offense here still, even if Lenore Sellers doesn't play. If he doesn't play, though, then I don't know, man. I'm not sure. The whole thing of Ole Miss, well, we got our defensive line fixed up, and yeah, we this, we that. You suck. We'll see if Ole Miss makes the playoff, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Well, we shouldn't overreact to one loss, but the thing with Ole Miss is like they haven't really had a defense in like the last year, especially. Like last year, defense was a problem. They can only do so much on offense. Their offense can only carry them so far. Like, I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see. Ole Miss plays LSU next week. That's a big one, too. Next up, oh, brother, here we go. We got the Florida State garbage can effing Seminoles versus number 15 Clemson. I'm sorry that ear rape just occurred. It pretty much, I'm sure it was. When I listen back to this, I'm probably going to have my ears hurt listening to that. I'm sorry, everyone. Headphone users, be aware for future things like that. But this is a rivalry. Florida State leads it. Brock Glenn is going to start at quarterback for Florida State after DJ Uiagalelei, however you say his name. That was pretty good. That's the best I've ever pronounced his last name, and I wasn't even trying. He broke his finger or whatever. Finally something that's going to make somebody else play because Mike Norvell was incompetent to start somebody else. Gosh, dude. Anyway, focus on the game here. Florida State's a 14.5-point home underdog. Last year, Florida State won, got lucky, in my opinion, winning that game, because all they kept trying to do was the one-on-one, down the field, one-on-one, and I'm like, guys, what are you doing? Clemson, on the other hand, has played very, very good offense. Their offense has scored a bunch of points. Their defense, holding its own at times. They do give up a little bit of yardage, but nothing that has been too alarming. NC State was scoring those points in garbage time. The 35, a lot of that came in garbage time, but they were getting trounced in that game. I don't know, man. This is a rivalry. Clemson's on the road. Clemson has been electric. Some of you are just going to be like, Steven, or you're an idiot. People are going to call me an idiot for this, but I think Clemson may struggle to score in this game. Now, I say that, then they drop 40+. But not shocking, Florida State's defense just gave up 42 last week against SMU. In Florida State, 17 is probably being generous, but with these backup quarterbacks, you never know. Brock Glenn, I don't know, man. Do I trust this guy? Not really. I don't know. I watch these practice videos of these Florida State quarterbacks, Brock Glenn, Luke Kromenhoek, and Trevor Jackson. Trevor Jackson, to me, should be the one that's technically starting, but whatever. What do I know? And Kromenhoek's footwork is so awkward. I don't like it too much. I don't know. Whatever. I think Florida State gets up for this one at home, prime time in Tallahassee, but Clemson, man, I don't know, man. What scares me is that offense could take off in any second. Kate Klubnik's been playing out of his mind, and that defense hasn't been solid, like I said. So Florida State, I think, still struggles on offense. We'll see. All right, next up, we have Arkansas versus number 4 Tennessee. I won't spend too much time on this one. I'm going to keep these short and simple. Tennessee is nearly a 2-touchdown favorite. I think this is going to be a lot closer than people think, unfortunately. And Tennessee is off a bye week, I believe. They beat an Oklahoma team that is not very impressive. I mean, their defense is, but their offense is just complete trash. Arkansas has had some real heartbreaking games this season. The two losses have been one score, tough, gritty losses. Oak State, Texas A&M. Where is Arkansas's mind at? Sam Pittman on the hot seat. The bottom is starting to fall out on Arkansas. This could be one of their final stands of the year. Their schedule's not easy at all, but neither is Tennessee's. They got to play Alabama and Georgia in the coming weeks. But Arkansas, I think Arkansas could possibly slow down this Tennessee run game. This Tennessee run game has been just on fire. This whole offense has been on fire. But this Tennessee defense, I still feel like Tennessee's defense is slightly unproven. They have to face an offensive powerhouse. They still have to play one of those kind of teams. I'm not saying Arkansas has they have some. Arkansas's got some explosiveness that we've seen that. Taylor Green can run pretty well at times. We've seen them throw the ball down the field pretty well. I mean, look what happened in the A&M game. Arkansas has those moments where they can actually punch it in the field big time. But I still like Tennessee here, but I think Arkansas covers. I almost made this a surefire pick of the week with the plus 13, but Josh Heupel is 8-1 off the bye as coach so far for Tennessee. Tennessee's very good off the bye, but I think this is the wrong spot for anything statistical of that nature. I think Arkansas is going to push Tennessee's limits. I mean, and Arkansas could easily get blown out. But the way I see things right now, Arkansas is at home. Home, nighttime game, SEC. The SEC's different, these home environments. I just feel like they're different from what I see sometimes with the Big Ten. I don't know. It just depends on the team you're talking about, especially. But speaking of the Big Ten, oh, brother, this was the hardest game for me to even decipher. In terms of the thinking, not really so much to pick, but the thinking process of it was one of the harder ones, especially, maybe the hardest. Washington versus number 10 Michigan. This is a national championship rematch from January 9th. Michigan should have that vacated, in my opinion. Yeah, I'm not going to go any further into that. You guys know why, and if you don't think so, then I don't know what to tell you. But either way, Michigan has an impressive road game win streak. They've won 12 straight road games dating back to 2021. Washington is a favorite. That's interesting because Michigan a few weeks ago was favored 8.5, 9 points. The line has completely flipped to Washington. Washington's coming off of a rough game against Rutgers, and they outgained Rutgers. But this Washington offense, I think they can throw the ball in this Michigan defense. Now, Michigan is getting back two of their key defensive players. They did not play in the game against Minnesota. That could be a difference, but I don't know, man. Washington at home are looking for some revenge. I think Washington's defense, I will say their defense has been pretty solid this year. They're holding teams down a bit. I know the game against Washington State, for instance, they lost. They couldn't quite hold down Washington State's offense, but for the most part, Washington has been solid. I don't want to say they've been elite, but they've been solid. Michigan cannot throw, run only. It's like their offensive line hasn't been the same. Khalil Mullins is going to have to run the ball crazy in this game a bunch, and Michigan's defense is going to have to slow down Washington's pass. Can Washington stop the run, though? That was their problem against Michigan in the national championship. I don't know, man. I think Washington wins. This is my surefire pick of the week, and I didn't want to go there with this one, but it was either going to be this or Arkansas with the points. Washington wins outright. The points, man, I don't know, man. This could easily be a 1-point win for Washington. I think the line tells you everything you need to know. Washington wins this game outright. And this is a lot similar to Baylor versus a ranked BYU team. Very interesting. Except the difference is Michigan can't throw the ball. BYU can. So there's some kind of differences there. I have Washington winning outright. Tough one. I almost switched my pick to Michigan. Originally, a few weeks ago, I looked at this game. I'm thinking, oh, Michigan wins easily. But now I'm like, I don't know about that one. College game day. Cal and number 8 Miami. This is the first time college game day is coming to Cal. I think this is kind of strange, but whatever. I mean, I guess they're in love with the Miami kids or Miami boys, whatever the hell. Miami should be 4-1. They should have lost to Virginia Tech. I'm sorry, but when you play sloppy like that, I mean some sloppy, sloppy football. Cam Ward, it's almost like Miami was trying to throw the game on purpose. Did you see some of the action happening in that game? Miami is so lucky. That's one of the luckiest wins I've ever seen in recent memory. It's one of the craziest finishes in recent memory, maybe ever in college football. Cal does not impress me a whole heck of a lot. They're decent to a degree, but this Cal team, man, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. I feel like they're okay in aspects, but Miami doesn't do well when they travel to the western part of the U.S. I was reading some things about it. I think the last time, I might be wrong on this. I'm going to do more research on it, but they don't typically win when they go out to the West Coast. They typically lose. But this Miami team has too much talent to be screwing around. There ain't no way they're going to let that happen. I think Miami covers. I think this line's coming down far enough. I think people are buying on Cal so much. Public has got to be on Cal because this line dropped like 3 points the last couple days. I'm not buying it, man. I think Miami covers. I think it could be a slower game to start, but Cal I don't think is able to keep up or slow down Miami. I mean, Cal doesn't score a ton of points, but we'll see. Final game to pick here, Arizona versus Texas Tech. This is a solid game. This is a good one. Good watchable game. Problem is, it starts at 11 o'clock my time. Why? What is wrong with the... I swear, I ain't even going to be able to watch this entire game. It's a Saturday night. I mean, this is ridiculous. It's going to be going on until like 2 something in the morning. I'm not staying until 3 a.m. Are you kidding me? Anyway, Arizona, Texas Tech. Arizona's favorite 6. That's an interesting line considering Texas Tech's offense has just been completely ballistic the last few weeks, especially. Ever since the game against Washington State, they have just been scoring. Nothing slowing them down. They have one of the worst defenses in all of the FBS. Meanwhile, Arizona, they beat Utah on the road, but Utah did not have their starting quarterback, which is what scares me about Arizona about being at home. Arizona has failed to eclipse 25 points since their Week 1 win against New Mexico, where they had that crazy 61-point game with T. McMillan having 304 receiving yards. Arizona has got to find that Week 1 success again. This Texas Tech team is crazy on offense. I literally see this Tech team putting up so many points in a hurry. It's ridiculous. But on the road, I think it's time to fade Texas Tech. I don't trust them on the road. Arizona is a home favorite like this for a reason. Maybe it's too many people are buying in on Arizona just because of the win against Utah. That's what I'm worried about is the line's inflated too much because of the Utah win against a Utah team that didn't have their starting quarterback, but they played against a good Utah defense. I mean, the Utah secondary is a little bit suspect anyway, but Texas Tech, man, they're going to have their hands full. They're not going to be able to stop this Arizona offense. If Arizona does not score 30+, I might honestly be done talking about this team for the rest of the year. I'm serious, because I'm not going to waste my time talking about a team that's so inept on offense. A team that, I don't know, it's weird because, yeah, I don't know. It's like T. McMillan's the main receiver, and I don't know. It's weird. Arizona's been strange this season. But either way, that's going to do it for my picks, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching. Week 7 arrives next week. Also, stay tuned for Episode 9 of the Stormfront. That's coming soon your way. I recapped the race I did back on last Thursday, and Episode 8's already dropped at the Stormfront. Episode 10 will probably be within the next week or so. But, guys, I appreciate you watching this as always. Please like, subscribe, and share the video. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.